from Decodable Readers Australia. I'm excited because we've got a mini-series called Celebrating Science of Reading Influencers. There are so many amazing people doing work here in Australia and globally to spread the word of the science of teaching reading. And these people are really bridging that gap for our educators. From that research to quality instruction and practice in our classrooms. So we've decided to celebrate them and connect our community with them, because who wouldn't want to be on this journey with them? So sit back and enjoy. Each week we've got a different influencer that we're going to showcase and connect you with. Today we celebrate the wonderful work of Alison Clarke from Spelfabet. Today, we are so excited to have Alison Clarke here on our show, one of the great influencers in my journey and many, not only here in Australia, but globally. So thank you so much, Alison, for joining us today.
It's a pleasure, and I'm like gobsmacked that you say I'm an influencer, but you know, it's exciting if I am, and I hope that, I'm honoured to be in your list.
Oh, absolutely. What I absolutely love, Alison, is your videos, how you write your blogs for teachers and educators. It's really unpacking the reading science into language and practical strategies that we can implement into our classroom. So firstly, I want to say thank you, but can you tell us a little bit about your journey, who you are, and how you've come to be our influencer?
I don't know. I'm from a dairy farm in the Western District in Victoria, and I went to government schools and, you know, sort of have a social justice perspective because of my parents being Uniting Churchy people. And so I became a speech pathologist, and then was doing a lot of language stuff, and then making the links to literacy. And, you know, these kids, they didn't want to do my language stuff. They wanted to learn to read, you know, and they were like, can you teach me how to read? And so starting to link the speech language work with written stuff, and then realizing that the kids that I was working with were really coming along. And then the smart integration aids, there's always, you know, so many fantastic people in the schools who take what you give them for one kid and apply it to a few others, and then they're doing well as well. And so I was sort of seeing this snowball effect where people were saying, okay, you can get that kid reading and they've got an intellectual disability, or they've got a language impairment, or they've got autism spectrum. So what about this kid who's neurotypical? So then I started to see more kind of dyslexic style kids. And read a lot more, because it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to do this. So I read Diane McGuinness's book, Why Children Can't Read, and sort of light bulbs went on. And then sort of got in touch with Learning Difficulties Australia people, with Mandy Nation at DSF and Ausspelled, and, you know, started making connections and going to the pub with Maureen Pollard and going blah, 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 and Beres Dixon, and they cracked me up. And and then meeting, you know, international visitors like Marianne Wolf and Louisa Moats, and most recently David Kilpatrick. So just sort of building my knowledge by knowing people, and you know, being encouraged by people. Margot Pryor, who was a professor here who recently died, she was very you know, strong on this thing of, you know, it's the poor kids and the disadvantaged kids who are suffering from this approach, that sort of, you know, the wealthier kids, their parents can get them a tutor, but what about the kids from the high rise? Yeah. So I guess that's the perspective that I come from. And I've worked a lot with refugee kids and kids from high rise and so forth. And they're the ones that, you know, I'm not seeing in my private practice because they don't have the money, but I want to do something to stop them from being left behind. It's sort of professional responsibility, I guess. It's yeah, I feel like it's the job of professionals to promote, you know, health promotion as well as your individual clients.
Yeah, and who's influenced your journey the most? I know that's probably a really hard question. I'm not even sure I could answer that. There's so many. But
yeah, it's really hard to know. You know, if I had to say it, well, Pam Snow was my 4th year supervisor, and so I go back a long way with her. Yeah, but you know, I've learned a lot from her, because we wrote an article together for the conversation. I can't remember how exactly it started. She was at Monash, and this article called "The Way We Teach Children to Read Sets Them Up to Fail." And then like a week later, she emailed me and said, that's like in the top 10 articles from Monash of all time on the conversation. I was like, oh, really? So we seem to just hit a nerve at at a good time, and then it sort of took off from there. And since then I've been sort of running to catch up, and so I set up my website, the Spelfabet website, in 2012. I was on the city council. In 2011 I was the local mayor, which is kind of crazy, and then in 2012 I set up this website because I was stepping down from council, and I thought, well, I know all this stuff and people are asking me questions all the time. I have not got time to answer all these emails, so I'll put it on a website, and then I can also refer my clients and say, here's a list of the things you might be able to use, and it's kind of grown from there. And at the moment it's desperately needing an update.
Oh, I tell you, it's pretty good. I think I visit it daily. It's just
the lists are good.
It's just a wealth of knowledge, from resources to blogs, even just spelling lists and things like that, all the speech to print. But you've just got so much on there. So we'll make sure that we put the Spelfabet website on this post as well, because like myself, it's just such a useful go-to resource as well. So I know that you're thinking about doing updates, but as it is, it's still a very user-friendly and wealth of knowledge on there as well. So
thank you.
That's your main port of call for our community, because we get lots of calls saying, well, where can I find the right information? It's a rabbit warren, as you know. And we really want to link our community up. So the Spelfabet is the best way to, I guess, understand your knowledge. And you've got your YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's linked to it. Yeah, I've got which I sporadically work on. Last year we were swimming through mud trying to survive COVID, and I've got a number of staff working with me now. They're just gorgeous and fantastic. And so I had to kind of drop the ball a little bit last year, but I'm hoping to get back on doing. I've got a list of half-finished blog posts and a whole lot of half-done ideas, scrap bits of paper for videos about things to make. But yeah, it's finding the time.
And what I love about your videos, and I really encourage our audience to jump on the YouTube channel and have a look, they're just easily digestible. They're very practical, and although there's not the fancy dancy audio and visual, what I love most is you grab whatever you've got to explain reading science in such a practical way. So thank you for just grabbing the camera and doing what you do best, because it just translates so easily for educators.
Well, thank you. It's very nice of you to turn my daggy into something that sounds good. I just went, just jump and see where we land. And, so many people are making really nicely polished and much better things than mine. But, I don't have time.
I don't know. The pillow being the brain is
pillow being the brain. I know, I had pillows. I was going to throw them out.
It's perfect. And then your little hooks and safety pins. I loved it. Now, this is probably another tricky question, and we always talk about the positives of change and educating our educators on best practice. But have you, along your journey, come across any frustration points, whether it's with universities? I know Pam Snow is doing an amazing job at that university teacher training level. But yourself, have you come across any frustration points, even in the profession of speech pathology?
I think that the thing that frustrates me the most is that it's the kids that are the most disadvantaged who are suffering from the lack of explicit teaching. And you can see that in the Pearls data and so forth. Gradually everybody else is moving up, but that long tail of underachievement is not shifting, and it's not going to shift until there's more explicit teaching. And organisation, I'm a Green, and I used to be the state coordinator of the Greens here, and I talked to all of the progressive people in the AEU and whatever about, we've really got to rejig the way early teaching is happening, so that teachers have the skills and have the tools to really get those lowest kids moving. Because when teachers, when they get that knowledge, they're like, why didn't I get this at uni? This is just crazy. This is my knowledge. Why did they deprive me of it? And, I don't want to point a finger at any they. I just want to get on with the job of backfilling that information so that teachers are confident and they know what the sounds are and they know what the spelling patterns are and they know how to build words and have a proper sequence and have proper materials and can throw out the look at the picture and guess books and the whole, look everywhere but at the word when you're trying to work out what the word is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's when those lowest functioning kids, the kids with the lowest skills and often the most disadvantaged kids, are going to start thriving. And you can see them in the world. You can see them as adults and think, oh, imagine how life might have been different if they'd been more explicitly taught and they'd been more successful as little ones.
Yeah, and it's that whole Matthew effect, isn't it? The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And if we don't do something, especially for our vulnerable learners, it just gets harder and harder as the school goes on. And it's not just affecting their learning, it's affecting their confidence and their emotional and even social to some extent as well. And you would probably see that in your practice.
Yeah, and the kids who want to be the naughty kid, not the dumb kid. So they're acting out, and the kids who are refusing to go to school and saying that they're dumb, that stuff. It's just like we can cut that off if we can get the right intervention, right screening and preventative stuff, and make sure that the system's in place where they don't fall through the cracks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one way to do that is to get our educators, both parents and our teachers, community members, tutors, in the right direction. And Spelfabet is one of our go-to websites that has a lot of information and just takes you on a journey with you. So today you are our SOR influencer that we'd love to celebrate. Digitally, I can't hand over, our little trophy or anything, but
virtual trophy.
We just thank you for your time to come and talk to us and linking our community to you, because that's where our community wants that extra training and advice. And it's really important that they connect to the right people that are evidence-based, using the right, knowledge and research, that it's valid, as well as the know, like, trust factor. There's something that you just share so freely, and it builds that know, like, trust. And when we know the person, we like them, we trust them. When something does come out, and I see Alison Clarke has released this new blog post, I just know it's going to be good, and it's an instant read for me. So thank you so much for everything that you do.
No worries. Thank you. And thank you for your books and stuff. We use them here as well. And so when the kids are the animal, those animal kids, like, yes, I've got something for you.
Yeah, they love the little Aussie characters. Keeping it Aussie for them. I love, one of my favorite is the hot rods, the cars. we need to buy some props, I'm thinking.
A few petrol heads, yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alison. You have a lovely day.
You too. Thanks a lot. See ya.